Your engine is dying right now and you have absolutely no idea it is happening. Not from wear, not from age, not from the miles stacking up on the odometer. It is dying because the fluid protecting every moving part inside that block has already started breaking down, and nobody at the dealership is going to tell you there is a $2 solution sitting on a shelf in every Japanese workshop from Osaka to Hokkaido that has been quietly adding hundreds of thousands of miles to engines that should have grenaded years ago. 500,000 miles is not a myth. It is a maintenance philosophy, and it costs less than a cup of coffee. Here is what the major automakers desperately need you to never figure out. Inside your engine right now, dozens of precision steel components are spinning, sliding, and slamming against each other thousands of times every single minute. The only thing standing between those metal surfaces and catastrophic destruction is a microscopic film of oil, a film thinner than a human hair, riding on a chemical bond that degrades every single time your engine fires. Heat shears the molecular chains apart. Combustion byproducts contaminate the film. Short trips never let the oil reach operating temperature, trapping raw fuel and water vapor directly in the crankcase. That protective film gets thinner, dirtier, and weaker with every commute. The physics of this failure are brutally simple. When that oil film collapses, even for a fraction of a second under hard acceleration or cold startup, bare metal drags against bare metal. You will not hear it. You will not feel it. But the damage is cumulative, invisible, and mathematically certain. Microscopic steel particles suspend in the degraded oil. That contaminated slurry circulates through every oil gallery, past every bearing surface, through the hydraulic lifters, and directly into the variable valve timing solenoids. You are sandblasting your own engine from the inside out with every mile you drive on neglected oil. The Japanese figured out how to stop this cycle decades ago. Walk into any independent workshop in Japan servicing high-mileage taxis, delivery trucks, and fleet vehicles that routinely eclipse 500,000 kilometers without an internal rebuild. You will not find exotic chemistry or dealer-exclusive treatments. You will find a single, brutally simple habit built around one cheap additive that has been quietly standard practice in Japanese professional maintenance culture since the 1980s. It costs roughly $2 per application. It takes 30 seconds to use. And it works by addressing the exact failure point that kills 90% of engines long before their mechanical components are actually worn out. The secret is not the oil. The secret is what you add before you drain it. Here is the exact protocol that Japanese fleet maintenance culture has been running for 40 years while American drivers are busy paying dealerships $400 for a basic oil service. Approximately 300 miles before your scheduled oil change, pour one treatment of a high-concentration engine flush, not a fuel system cleaner, not an oil stabilizer, but a genuine short-interval internal engine flush, directly into your existing oil. The active chemistry goes to work immediately, suspending the accumulated sludge deposits coating your oil galleries, dissolving the varnish baked onto your piston rings, and freeing the microscopic passages in your hydraulic lifter circuits that have been slowly choking down for years. Drive those 300 miles normally. When you drain the oil at your change interval, you are not just draining degraded lubricant. You are evacuating a thick, contaminated chemical soup carrying every carbon deposit, every sludge layer, and every suspended metal particle that has been quietly restricting oil flow to your most critical engine components. You will see it the moment you crack the drain plug. The fluid that drops into the pan will be dramatically darker, heavier, and more contaminated than a standard drain. That is not a problem. That is the process working exactly as intended. Drop in a fresh filter. Fill with the correct factory spec oil viscosity. Notice the difference on the next cold start. The engine will turn over with noticeably less mechanical resistance. The startup rattle, that brief, ugly ticking you have learned to ignore on cold mornings, will shorten dramatically or disappear entirely as oil reaches the upper valve train faster through clean, unobstructed galleries. Power delivery will feel crisper because the piston rings are now sealing the combustion chamber the way they were engineered to, instead of floating on a carbon shelf that has been robbing compression for 50,000 miles. This is not marketing language. This is basic thermodynamics applied correctly. The corporate service model relies entirely on you never understanding this. They need you to believe that engine degradation is inevitable, mysterious, and only fixable with expensive dealer intervention. They need oil consumption to be a shrug and a parts order. They need the sludge building inside your engine right now to stay invisible until it triggers a catastrophic failure that justifies a complete long block replacement at a price that rivals a down payment on a house. A $2 flush treatment performed every other oil change interval intercepts that entire pipeline. Here is the exact counterstrike. Write this on your phone right now. 300 miles before every second oil change. Add 1 engine flush treatment to existing oil. Run it normally for those miles. Drain everything completely. Do not rush the drain. Give it 10 full minutes. Replace the filter every single change, no exceptions. Refill with factory-specified viscosity only. On high-mileage engines over 150,000 miles, perform the flush every change interval, not every other. That is the entire protocol. 5 steps. 30 seconds of actual effort. $2 in chemistry. The fleets running past 500,000 miles are not doing it with exotic engineering. They are doing it with disciplined, boring, brutally consistent maintenance that the dealership service model is specifically structured to prevent you from understanding, because a clean engine does not generate repair revenue. Stop funding the degradation cycle they designed for your driveway. Every independent technician who actually turns wrenches for a living and not for commission knows the difference between an engine maintained on this protocol and one that has been running on neglected, contaminated oil for 30,000-mile intervals. You can feel it in the compression. You can smell it when you pull the valve cover. You can see it in the color of what drains out of the pan. The 500,000-mile engine is not built differently. It is maintained differently, starting with a $2 bottle and the discipline to use it before the damage becomes permanent. Subscribe if you are done letting an anonymous maintenance schedule written by an accounting department dictate the lifespan of your machinery. Do not let clean oil galleries be the industry secret they charge you 4 figures to rediscover on the rebuild bench.